Is reading good for us? I don't actually know, so today we're going to do a ring reading tracking challenge to see if that is true.
We have not had a stressful day. I don't know what we're doing wrong.
3 hours. It's stressful.
But we've got to also have the self-measure. I report happiness.
This week is so good. Emily Wild here would be turning in her grave if she saw my scientific accuracy of this experiment.
Hello, welcome. In today's reading challenge, we are setting out to answer the question I've been dying to know, and I'm sure you are. Is reading good for us? Does it help us reduce stress? And can we use this as evidence to tell our partners and our children and any other obligations in life that yes, indeed, we need more hours in the day to read? Today's challenge, I am going to be tracking my stress levels using this fancy little ring doodad, and I want to see if reading more hours per day means that I'm less stressed. How I'm going to be doing this is this essentially every day logs things like number of hours per day that I have been stressed. It also categorizes if I am in this thing called restorative time. And so at the end of the day, it'll tell me if I've had a stressful day or a balanced day. And obviously stress is not good for our health. We want to be balanced. We want to be healthy. So I found a study that says reading for only 6 minutes a day reduces stress levels by 68%. The problem is I do in fact already read at least 6 minutes a day. I was like, okay, cool. What would be another good amount of time? And I of course thought of the master, the king, Stephen King, who writes horror novels for a living, and they're stressful, and he's notorious for reading a lot. And I looked it up. He reads for about 3 hours a day. And you know what? I feel like this reading must be really working for him. So we're going to try and do 3 hours a day. In summary, I'm going to track my hours of stress per day. I'm going to attempt to read 3 hours a day, and I'll just be picking up what feels good that day to see if reading more does in fact make me less stressed. Let's get into this reading challenge. Okay, so to kick things off, we are going to be continuing. I'm actually currently listening to Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I don't actually own this, so I will be listening to it. I do need to order some books actually, so I think I might even do that while I'm listening. So far on my daytime stress check-in, we're looking pretty balanced so far, but I think I'm actually just going to do the wrap up at the end of the day. Let's get into listening to Mate, which if you are unfamiliar is a follow-up to Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Let's go.
Not a dame nor a lady, not in the way she walks, the way she
Okay, so that went incredibly quickly. I somehow, in all of my book searching and planning out my TBR for the next 2 months, I passed an hour and a half. Easy breezy listening to Mate. We're about 9.5 hours in. Look, I don't even know if I can say anything about it. I believe it's technically a standalone, an interconnected standalone. So technically you could read this without having read Bride. We are following the sister-ish friend person from the original Bride book. I think the only thing I can say without revealing too much is we are talking about fated mates, which tell me why every time I read about fated mates, it's all I want to read. So that's happening. So yeah, I don't know. We might see a rough turn to the left on the rest of my TBR after this. I keep hearing things about Wolf King, and I feel like that might be coming for me in my future. Anyway, I'm gonna make some lunch and then we'll get back to reading.
She acts when I say let's go out dancing. Your place or mine, don't waste my time with romancing. She's wild, she's funny, doesn't care about clothes or money. She just cares for me, she's all I need, she's my gal.
get 3 hours under my belt today. I think about 2.5 of that was listening to my audiobook of Mate, and then I just sat down for half an hour before and I was reading Starling House, which is just a book that I've been reading this past week, and I'm about 50% through, so I'm just kind of continuing that. So in terms of stress, I haven't been given my whether it was a balanced or a stress day, but interesting. Even though I felt nice and relaxed while I was reading, I did indeed log 3 hours of stress time during the day, which is great. I must say I did find myself jumping on my phone a lot when I wasn't reading. It doesn't help if I'm picking up my phone lots outside of reading and then getting stressed and anxious because I'm picking up my phone. So alas, that's day one. I do feel really good about the reading that I did, but yeah, maybe we'll reassess the phone usage moving forward, because yeah, 3 hours in the stress zone, not where we want to be. So anyway, I'm gonna probably go and read a little bit more before bed, but otherwise I will see you in the morning tomorrow for day 2. Good morning. I just pulled up my review from yesterday, and yes, indeed, it was counted as a stressful day, which is not what we want to see. So today I'm going to pivot, and I'm not going to continue listening to my audiobook. I'm actually going to swap gears, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to strictly try and keep my reading time today to physically reading, to see if that makes a difference, because maybe it was because I was listening to audio. I don't know. I have some work I need to get done in the middle of the day today, but I'm going to spend a bit of time reading now. It's about 9:30 in the morning, so I'm going to clock in some reading time now, do a bit of work, and then probably do a little bit more in the afternoon. That is a plan. We'll see how we go. Let the reading ring challenge continue. So I'm about an hour into my reading for today. I kind of half mentioned it earlier that I had a huge list of books. I love to do this thing where I'll kind of sample books that I want to read to see if I'll add them to my TBR. And 3 books that I wanted to jump into to check out today were The Wolf King, A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly, and Female Fantasy. We're off to a great start. So The Wolf King, I read the sample of within a chapter. Immediate purchase, both books in the series, because that first chapter was insane. The fact that that is indie pubbed, I wanted the indie pub version because the writing was unbelievably good. And I'm just so stoked that that person is, I think Lauren, is getting to be tried pubbed this year. But yeah, I just really wanted to get my hand on the indie copy while I still could. So that one, I literally finished reading the first chapter and then purchased the copy. Then I moved on to A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly. I have heard really good things about this. I personally haven't gotten into it, by the way. I think I'm 3 chapters into that one now. I'm on the fence still. It feels like it's got some good legs to it, but I am not fully sucked in, so I don't know. If you have read that and you love it, please let me know if I should keep going. And then what I wanted to jump on now to say was I just started reading Female Fantasy, And I'm actually just on the author's note. If you don't know anything about this book, essentially it is about a woman who is like obsessed with a book series with a merman in it, and he is like her book boyfriend. And so she's just really struggling to date because of this like fictional man that she is obsessed with, and she writes fan fiction in her spare time. Anyway, she eventually finds out that the fictional man is based on a real man, and so she goes on this like cross-country road trip to hunt down this man, essentially, which just sounds amazing, truthfully. But anyway, I haven't even gotten to the actual writing, but the author's note, this is going to be summarizing, but essentially the essence of this paragraph is, I'm not telling you that every time you read a romance novel that you are taking part in a radical act, but I am telling you that when you do select a romance novel from your TBR, you are just one thread in a much larger tapestry that is slowly chipping away at patriarchal social structures, one sentence at a time. I love that. Yeah, so I read that, and I'm actually very excited to continue to read the sample. So I'm probably going to read for another half an hour and then get into my day. But so far, we're off to a very good start. Okay, first line is, so let me get this straight. You're breaking up with me to be with someone who doesn't exist. We're off to a good start. Alright, well, today got away from me. I managed to get an hour and 45 in today of reading. It's currently 10 p.m, so I'm going to go to bed now, and I'm going to probably do another hour or so of reading before I go to sleep, which should bring me to my 3 hours. To wrap up today, so far we are looking so much better than yesterday, but I can say for certain that the times that I'm on my phone, I notice correlate very highly with my peaks in stress. So that's probably something to pay attention to that has nothing to do with reading, and that apparently happens more than the 3 hours that I am reading per day. I'm gonna go get into bed, get cozy, get another hour clocked, and then I will be back with you tomorrow. Good morning, guys. So last night I ended up reading quite late. I didn't quite get my 3 hours, 2.5 hours, which to be honest I'm pretty happy with. So I probably will just try and squeeze in another half an hour today, or we might just call that pretty close. In terms of my day yesterday, let's have a look. Sorry, also excuse, I'm hair oiling right now, so excuse my hair looking like a virtual bird's nest. One moment. Okay, so for yesterday, we ended up clocking 2 hours 15 stressed and 30 minutes restored, which apparently that was counted as a stressful day. So 2 for 2, we're not going super well on this challenge. But alas, we persevere. 2 days is not necessarily an entire cross-section, so we will continue. I am going to continue this morning reading Starling House. I'm pretty close to the end of this book. Yeah, I've got like 2 hours left, so we should be able to wrap this one up in this reading session today, which will be really good. And I think I might try and even do that in one long session to see if maybe like reading it all at once is maybe the key, because I definitely have been like reading and then stopping and reading and stopping. Yeah. So we're gonna continue with Starling House. See if today can be hopefully less of a stressful day. Let's get into it. So Starling House, if you know nothing about it, if you haven't read it, we are following Opal, who kind of lives in this town of Eden. She's not very wealthy. She lives in this motel called the Garden of Eden, which I just find very symbolic and I love it. And there is this house in this town called the Starling House, and she just keeps having dreams about this house. Kind of long story short, she ends up working there. She gets approached by this like conglomerate being like, we want access to this like Starling House. We've been trying to contact the owner, and then the owner is trying to protect it. Anyway, it is just so beautifully written. It's so atmospheric. The house has like a personality like by itself. Like it's so good. It is so good. I'm like highlighting things constantly. I really, really, really like Alex E. Harrow's writing. So I did just finish Starling House, and that brought me to an hour and 20 minutes for today so far. I think I'm going to take a little break there. I've got some writing I need to get done and just some general life admin, like fixing this bird's nest of a mess on my head from hair oiling. And so I'm going to go do that. But I can say bulking all of the reading. So I just did like pretty much an hour and a half of reading, just like straight together. And right off the bat, you can see like I went from all the way stressed, like straight down, and I am like recording in there too, which might like be why it is peaking to like engaged, because I like am talking to someone, and as calm, cool and collected that I appear on camera, I am not. So indeed that might be accounting for our little peaks there. So anyway, that's good to know. I'm going to take that information and onboard that like longer periods of time reading seem to help with the less stress effect. So anyway, okay, cool. I'm gonna go do some stuff, and yeah, we'll come back later today and I will continue to see if reading is actually good for us, because by this point we're not sure. We're not sure what's happening. Alrighty guys, good morning. It is officially day 4 of this reading challenge. I don't know why that's such a mouthful, but indeed, here we are. Yesterday, I did not meet my 3-hour goal. I think it came in at like 2.5 hours. And again, I did majority of that like right before I went to sleep. Yesterday was just a busy day. And so yeah, I got like an hour and a bit in the morning and then the rest in the evening. My day, because I was doing a lot, ended up being quite stressful. I'm a little bit of a stress head, a stress bug. And so yesterday was indeed a stressful day. But I am paying attention to not only the stress measure, but the restore measure. And I did clock 45 minutes of restore time. Last night, I moved on to, what did I sample? Oh, I sampled people watching. I hate to say it, but I'm a bit nervous to continue that one because the start was not strong. Not from the writing perspective. I love Hannah Bonham Young, but just from a characterization ick on my part. So yeah, don't know how I feel about that. I kind of talk about that in my previous vlog. So yeah, I had to put a pause on that. And then what else did I try to read? I think I tried to read something else, but alas, I ended up on Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia for Fairies. And when I tell you that I have tried cozy fantasy many a time and it's just not hit. And so I've just like had this on my Kindle. Like whenever I find like ebook sales, I just quick little download. I'm like, I'll get to that at some point. If it's on my radar, I just download. So I just was like, you know what? I have a book in mind that I want to read next week, and I have like a kind of a list of books that are kind of heavier for next week. And I was like, I just want something light and easy and breezy. And it just like called to me, you know? So anyway, I picked it up. I am having a great time. I am having so much fun. It is very like Bridgerton-esque writing style, like if you've not read this book, and it's set in like the north of Norway, and just the writing is so beautiful. The descriptions are just like stunning. And if you know nothing about this book, essentially we're following Emily Wilde as a professor from Cambridge, and she studies fairies. And so she's gone to the north of Norway to do some field research. And yeah, I truly don't really know what it's about. That's all I've gotten so far. She has an academic rival, or a professor rival. I guess they're technically academic rivals, but they're both professors. And he has just shown up. And he is the perfect mix of pompous, but like kind and just like adoring. Like you can just tell he's obsessed. So anyway, I'm having a fan-freaking-tastic time with that. I have clocked an hour this morning on that. Alas, I have some work that I need to get done, so I am going to put a pause there. I'm gonna go do some work. And I anticipate that my stress levels will go up because I just get a bit antsy when I do work. I don't know what to tell you. And then we're gonna try and read some more this afternoon of Emily Wilde. I am quite excited to sit down with all of the very, albeit not very scientific data. Emily Wilde here would be turning in her grave if she saw my scientific accuracy of this experiment. But alas, I am excited to sit down with all of it at the end to see the bigger picture rather than just like the day-to-day. But alas, to do that we must keep going. So I am gonna go to work and I'll see you guys later. Good morning. It is day 5 of our challenge and we are due a check-in. Now, the last one I recorded was technically 2 days ago because it was my weekend and I had way too much going on, so I just didn't have any time to read. So alas, we are back 2 days later and I want to check in with you. First, let's review Friday, which was... We have not had a not stressful day, okay? I really don't know what we're doing wrong, but alas, it was another stressful day. 2 hours and 15 minutes stressed and an hour and a half restored, which
I'm going to take that as a win. That's some good restore time for me. And then anyway, today we are back in it today. I am going to finish off Mate because I'm so close to finishing. That book has just been such a fun ride, honestly. I have no it was such a fun time. Today, aside from that, I also really want to finish Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia for Fairies. I am obsessed. I'm having such a good time. Honestly, I just think some books are marketed in truly just the wrong way for me. And I found that so many times this year where a book was marketed as one thing, and then I read it for my own reasons. I was like, oh, let's see what it's about. And then I read it and was like, whoa, that was the complete opposite reason why I liked it. And so that has been this book's case. And yeah, moral of the story, the cozy fantasy part, I am still really enjoying, but that's not what has drawn me in. It is the other lands and the fairies. I don't know what it is about the other lands and the fairies, but I'm obsessed. I honestly, at this point, think that I would read anything with those elements in it. So alas, anyway, already clocked in 45 minutes, a little over 2 hours to go. So let's make some movement and get back into it.
I did not just see that coming. Yeah. Yeah, this week is so good.
We did it. It's official. We are officially at the end of this challenge and we need to wrap up. We did in fact do 5 days of reading and tracking our health through a weird little ring thing. Let's see what happened, shall we? Let's have a look at yesterday. So yesterday was our first balanced day, which, God, I was a little bit concerned for a little while there. But indeed, we got there. We had one balanced day out of the 5 days we tried to do this. So overall, if that was the only measure that we were looking at, we would be in a pickle because that's not looking great, okay? But like every good scientific experiment, in which this is probably not one of them, but ignore that. Like all good ones, we're going to attempt to account for extraneous factors, which would be number one, I go to the sauna every day, which means that every morning my little graph goes all the way to the top first thing in the morning because guess what? Sitting in a hot room, kind of stressful on the body. Look, in a perfect world, I probably would remove that number from the thing, or maybe just not wear my ring into the sauna in the future. Yeah. Number two, which was a very fascinating find that I didn't account for when I started this, but now I know I can't unsee it and kind of honestly makes a lot of sense. Overall, if you look at just the hours that I was reading, was I more relaxed during those times? Yes. If I followed up that reading time by getting on my phone, I a little bit undid all of my good work. So, not something I had predicted, not something that I had accounted for, but kind of makes sense. So look, in a future version of this, maybe we do this again and I try not to use my phone the entire week. Overall, not a perfect experiment, but yeah, I did learn a lot. And I think, yeah, having seen how my body responds to picking up my phone, I'm definitely going to think twice about it. And screen time definitely does seem to have a huge impact on my stress levels, potentially outweighing any of the goodness I might do by picking up a book. So realistically, the message here is pick up your books, throw away your phone, and yeah, enjoy your reading, because apparently when I was reading, I was more relaxed, even when you account for the fact that I was sitting down, because when I'm on my phone, I'm also sitting down, and I was stressed. Also, potentially a little TMI, but I am approaching my period. So that could have been a factor, because indeed that does happen in my luteal phase. Again, TMI, I'm so sorry. But you know, if we're accounting for all of the factors, this is probably, in hindsight, not a great week to try and track my stress levels. So yeah, love that for me. And even, you know, we've got to also have the self-measure component, self-reported feeling. I report happiness, okay? I report good feelings when I am reading. So look, okay, scientists, you're gonna hate me for this, and I am truly sorry. But seriously guys, I did have such a fun week. I had so many good reads in this video too. I will be continuing the Emily Wilds. They were phenomenal. I cannot wait to get back in. And Alex Hazelwood always delivers. And I sampled a lot of different books that I will be adding to my TBR. So overall, it's been a great week. That is it for today. As always, thank you so much for watching. Happy reading, and I'll see you in the next one.